Welcome to the Longest Take podcast. Trigger warning for today's episode. We will be discussing at length about the movie Cannibal Holocaust, which includes violence to animals, violence and sexual violence to human beings, and some more grotesque stuff. So warning before you listen to our episode. Thank you for tuning in to the Longest Take podcast. In today's episode, we are joined by Carl Gabriel Yorke. Carl had some minor TV and movie roles, but most notably and most importantly, he played the role of Alan in the 1980 controversial flick Cannibal Holocaust. In today's episode, we talk about his experiences in the Amazon jungle, filming one of the most controversial movies of all time. And it was a great time chatting with him. I also have with me my co-host, Diego. So please welcome Carl to today's episode. Okay, so first things first, what are your top 5 favorite movies?
We lost Diego. There you are.
Oh.
You might lose me at some point.
Yeah, we lost. So you said the movie was Midnight?
Called Midnight. It's by Billy Wilder and I.A.L. Diamond. They wrote it. John Barrymore, Don Amici, Claudette Colbert. People you probably have never heard of, I'm guessing.
I know Billy Wilder. I know that one for sure.
Good. Yeah, Billy Wilder did also Sunset Boulevard, Something Like an Odd.
Yep.
He's one of the people I learned the most about story structure from by watching his movies. So Midnight, I'll go with Lawrence of Arabia, but I can't watch it anywhere except in a big theater. You're aware of Lawrence of Arabia?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I have to say 3 Days of the Condor with Robert Redford and Faye Dunaway. And along those lines, 3 Days of the Jackal, which they remade into some pile of hot steaming dog shit. If you ever want to watch it, you got to watch the original. And that's 4. I wonder if there's a 5th. There is a 5th. When I think of it, I will. Let me put it this way, though. Cannibal Holocaust is not on that list.
All right.
Yeah.
It's this little special honor. Its own category.
Yes, it does. It has its own special category. So those are the movies. So I taught screenwriting at Stanford for 5 years, and I like those movies that I just named because for a variety of reasons. One is because I was teaching story structure and how all of those people use structural elements in different ways and how they cover up the weaknesses in their structures are really important in terms of if you're a filmmaker, you're never going to make a structurally perfect picture. So you have to know how to account for that. But anyway, none yet. So probably you never heard of any of those movies. Have you heard of any of them really?
No, yeah, Lawrence of Arabia. Yeah. Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen all the way through. I want to get the 4K. There's a 4K out there, and I imagine it's going to look immaculate just because how that movie was filmed. 3 Days of the Condor. R.I.P. Robert Redford, of course. And I haven't seen the others, but the Jackal. So is that the show with Eddie Redmayne, the one that's on Peacock or something like that, or AMC?
I don't think so.
I forgot. I think that one's called Day of the Jackal.
Day of the Jackal. No, not. Yeah, I said 3 Days of the Jackal. It's Day of the Jackal.
Okay.
It's a Frederick Forsyth novel, and done in boy, what a beautiful picture, and it was so well done. And then they yented it up, when they got, when it got into the 2000s or the 90s, whenever they did in fact, when they did the remake, Fred Zinnemann, who directed the original, said, don't put my name anywhere near this thing. Because they I don't know why they do remakes. But anyway, Well, what's the next question?
Wait.
Let's
So
go to the next one. Yeah.
hold on. I want to. So you mentioned about structure, and I'm just curious to know, like, pretend like I'm in your screenwriting class. Give me an example of any of those movies where they utilize the film to cover up some of like the structural shortcomings. I'm interested because you mentioned that, so I'm interested to know.
So I actually didn't use any of those to give examples of that. The best example of that's the easiest for me was, it was a Richard Gere picture. A gentleman, oh God, can we look it up? Richard Gere. It's a stupid picture. Gere. Oh, An Officer and a Gentleman. That's it. So that was a big movie in the 80s. And the story is he's in the Marines, and here's how structure works. You have a main character who is wrong about himself in the first act. So he's wrong about himself. And generally that takes it would be something like he thinks he needs this girl, but what he really needs is he thinks he needs some heroin. What he really needs is rehab, right? So he's going after the heroin, and we're going, no, go to rehab. And then the events of the story, teach him that his worldview is wrong. And then finally, at the end of the movie, he learns what he really needs to have a good life going forward. And it sounds really corny when I say it that way, but another way to think of it is a character that goes from slavery to freedom, which is one of the main themes of almost every movie we watch. And somewhere in there, somebody's going to ask the main character, who are you? Who do you think you are? Who would do something like that? What kind of fucking person would, like that? There's always some kind of question, and it's not always hidden that much, but it's in there because the other main theme is the main character has to find out who he is. So the end of this Officer and a Gentleman, what happens where they fuck up is that there's a secondary character who gets the self-revelation. He's the one who figures out who he is and what he needs to do going forward. And then he dies. So now they're stuck with the main character, Richard Gere, who's not going to learn what he needs to learn to satisfy us as an audience. So they have the final scene is the sergeant says, Richard Gere wants to quit the Marines. And the sergeant says, well, you can't quit unless you fight me and win. Now, this is ridiculous in the face of it. And they fight because there has to be a fight. And then I don't even remember who wins. So now they're really stuck because they've done that. So this is how they get out of it. They play the Star Spangled Banner and they show lots of American flags and they do, and they're out. In the old days, like in the Maltese Falcon is a good example of that with Humphrey Bogart and Mary Astor. Mm-hmm. There's all this exposition that they haven't done, and they have to get it in to make sense of the thing, but they've been stringing us along because we keep going, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Now we're all the way at the end, and so these guys had to talk 1,000 miles an hour and go, well, you killed Thursby, and blah, 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 blah. They're out, So it's things like that come to mind. It's been a long time since I taught that course, but I hope that makes sense to you.
Yeah. So basically you're saying that when they had those shortcomings, like what they do with these characters, they throw in this other stuff to kind of like divert attention or just kind of like bandage up or whatever, try to make it. Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes it's completely diversion. That's the whole thing. In other cases, like David Mamet, who wrote The Verdict, I think Mamet wrote The Verdict. He that self-revelation where the main character understands what his major flaw is. He puts that at the end of the first act instead of in the third act. So he gets to do something extra fun, which is have all these people attack the main character who's a lawyer for who he used to be. And he's not that person anymore, but but they keep attacking him there. So there's a way to play with the structure, and you have to actually, otherwise everyone will see what's coming and they won't, then you go, oh, I saw that coming. That's no fun. But it also has to pay off exactly the way you hope it does or will.
Right.
But you can't, it has to be in a way that you don't see it coming, which is why you can't do formula pictures. You can't, that's why AI can't really do a movie. No. Because it can't do that extra little flip, and it's called, I think, creativity. Yeah, the creativity. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's
the technical term. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really interesting about, I'm guessing that's about the verdict, right? I actually love that idea of the first act, you resolve the main character, and then the conflict for later on is about who he used to be, and now he came to terms with it himself. Now he has to, externally handle it. So that's really awesome.
And he has to stick to that change in himself, Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great.
He does some fakey shit in there, like he's an alcoholic, and then there's the moment when he doesn't take a drink. I mean, there's no other way to do it really, except taking him to AA, which is like a whole different story.
Yeah, of course.
I was in another movie called Jack the Bear with Danny DeVito, and that's what they did in that too. He quit. He's an alcoholic, and he quits drinking, and they just have a shot of him coming into the kitchen and pouring a drink, and then thinking about it, and then not drinking it. Now we know he's not drinking anymore.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, there's so many different ways to put it too.
Well, but there's so little real estate in a script and in film. You have to get as much information across as you can in one picture. You have to use every picture to get as much information across as you can. So get to Cannibal Holocaust. That's what Ruggiero did really well.
Yeah,
he really delivered a lot of information without a lot of talking, and in the case of Cannibal Holocaust, they did it in ways that, well, in some cases you wish you didn't see.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you can't get away with nowadays, really. You can't. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
Diego,
sorry. Well,
go ahead.
I was just going to say,
I'm going to start interviewing you.
I know, right?
Are you guys ready? That's why I said, are you ready?
Yeah, no. I was going to say that Diego could go on to because we're taking turns with our questions. So I was going to, if you were done, if you're good to go, we can move on.
You know what? Here's the thing. I can keep talking for a long time. And you could ask my wife. She's right over there. She's right.
For my question, I wanted to ask, if you were to jump back into acting, is there a role that you would like to play that you haven't done yet, that you're like, if I came back, I'd be itching to play this kind of villain or this kind of hero or something?
Yeah, the only kind of... So I was always... I always thought I was one of the nicest guys I know, But somehow the people who were casting stuff saw the asshole underneath all of that. We lost somebody.
Oh no, I'm here.
Right.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
So I did a TV series in the early '80s called The Paper Chase. It was a law school. I did 2 years on that show, and I was an asshole. And I really, it comes so naturally to me. At the audition, I barely needed to look at the script because it was like this stuff just rolled out of me. So, and then Alan Yates, we can call him an asshole, I think, with some extra layers on it from the other guy I played. So, what I would really, really like to play is like a psychologist or a therapist of some sort. That's what I would like to do. And I don't know. I'm fascinated by how you can. if you ask the right questions in the right way, you can get people to tell the truth. That's what. So if it's well written, it's a well written therapist. That would be the one I would want to do. No.
No, that'd be awesome. You know, we could have that therapist character take a look at Alan Yates and kind of, just kind of
and talk about how it's not that he has a small penis, he has a gigantic penis. That's why he was doing this.
There you go. Yep.
There you go.
He needs big balls to film his documentary.
Yeah.
No, that was great. Thank you. Sean, if you wanted to go.
Yeah, I love that. You could also connect being a therapist to like the way that you teach like screenplay or screenwriting, right? Because it's a matter of like kind of dissecting something and having something that comes out of it. So maybe in the future I'll if I ever come across anyone looking for like a writing an old therapist part or something, I could I'll give you a ring.
He's got to be old. He's got to be old. Yep.
Or we'll use some of that CGI de-aging, bring you back to your glory Cannibal Holocaust days, you know?
Just all I care about is like, being skinny. That's all I care about. I just don't.
Yeah.
That's why I love, watching. Yeah, well, watching this movie is like, having a son I didn't know I had, and I look at it and go, yeah, look at that skeleton. I mean, I don't even have any like abs or anything. There's just nothing there. It's just like a child. Yeah. Anyway.
So I read that in response to the rumors of the cast and crew being told to stay out of the media and court, you had said in an article or something that there was no signing of any kind that you did, nor were you asked to show up in court. I would love to hear your account of the aftermath of Cannibal Holocaust release and that possible media frenzy from your perspective.
Yeah, there wasn't any, number one, where I was. So you probably know that I filled in that's the voice of an angel right there.
Sorry, that was my son, I think.
Yeah. He sounds like he's maybe 3 or 4. How old is he?
No, he's 6. He just
he's 6. Oh, okay. Okay,
he's in a mood.
Pretending to be 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I used to answer that question. I have a philosophy about why people want to talk to me about this movie, or about why anybody who's not in the movies wants to talk to people who are in the movies. And it's an extension of the entertainment factor. And I actually don't think people want to know the truth about various things. They want to be entertained. And it's so for a long time, I didn't want to burst that bubble for people because people love that part. They love that part of the mythology. And it turns out that, they did have to bring Luca into the courtroom to prove that, we weren't murdered and all that stuff. But so when people talk to me about it, or when they asked me about it, for a long time, I just said, I don't want to talk about that. I don't talk about that. And then one day I just thought maybe it's reached a certain age or something. I said, fuck it. I'll just tell them. They never. So I started with, I replaced another actor in this movie. And they never seemed to connect me to the movie. So, so the first posters that came out, my name isn't on them. And the Variety review, they mention my character's name. They don't mention my name. So in a weird way, it was like, this movie never happened to me. It was very weird that way. Now, what I was doing in New York when I was cast in this, I was a freelance reader. I read scripts and books for movie companies, and I was working for United Artists. And walking down the hall, and this guy was like screaming, going, "Wow, fuck! I can't believe it! You gotta, I didn't know this guy." And then and I stick my head in, and I go, "You okay in there?" And he goes, "You gotta see these pictures. This is fucking amazing." And I come over, and he goes, "See, look at that! Jesus, fuck! And I'm like, holy shit. He goes, yeah, right. And I'm going, no, yeah, that's me. Because he had production shots from Cannibal Holocaust, because UA was going to distribute that in America. And he promised me production shots from the picture, but I never got them, because once it hit the courts in Italy, and then it got banned everywhere, UA dropped it. And then I didn't see the movie until 20 years later. So there was literally no media frenzy. There was literally no mention of it or of me. And it played for a week in New York. I did a little bit in a movie called Idle Hands, and or Idle Hands.
Is that the one with
And
Devin
the director
Sawa from the 90s?
I don't know.
Or
Yeah, from the 90s.
Okay, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
familiar.
yeah. And the director, he was an acquaintance, and when I told him that I was in Cannibal Holocaust, he told me that he saw it in New York when he was 15. And
Wow.
so he's the only guy I know who saw it the week it played in America.
Oh wow.
That was so what's the upshot of all that? Well, I had no relationship to any of that, and I finally, and I think in my, where was I? I did a convention in England in June, and they did a Q&A with me, and I said, I just want you all to think about this for a minute. I'm an actor. My job is being an actor. That means I got to be out in the public and be seen. Do you think I would sign something that says I'm not going to be seen unless they paid me, which they didn't?
Right.
Right. So I think it was a really good way to sort of build a mythology around it. And there was a kernel of truth to it. And they did have to show up in court, but they left me out of the whole thing.
So by
I'm not.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was going to say, by showing up in court, it wasn't so much that, it was more so just like, were they able to legally distribute this because of the content of the film itself? Or was there actually something related to thinking that something actually happened to the people in this film?
So this is where I think Ruggiero, for all that he was and wasn't, would really pulled off one of the great movie tricks of all time. He killed animals on film, and he didn't kill people. And then what he got hauled into court for was, did you kill these people? Right. So I don't think they were aware of the animals were actually killed. They were worried about the people that had actually been killed. And when Luca showed up, I guess maybe Francesca too, but Perry and I were in America. They weren't going to bring us over there, and everyone told me. I never heard from any of them again.
Oh wow.
But then but once that charge was dismissed, it was banned everywhere because of the animals and the brutality. And so I finally did, like I said, got to see it. It was the director of Idle Hands who sent me the first dupe I saw of it from. It was Dutch. It was from Amsterdam. And well, you're a sound guy, so they have a different compression. Was it PAL instead of NTSC? So
Yeah.
In Europe uses it. So the dialogue sounded like Chip and Dale. We're out in the jungle looking for cannibals. So I'm watching this movie of me being skinny, talking like a cartoon character, and then I got to the turtle, and then I'm like, oh, I don't even want to watch the rest of this. And then I just fast forward. And so did I take you off in how many different directions? Is that enough directions?
No, yeah, that was all excellent. It's good context too, just to understand the court side of it, obviously, and I mean, yeah, and then address the animals, which really quick, because whenever I know I send you questions, but as you answer, I think of new ones. So
fine, that's fine.
Really quick, were there any like animal deaths that were cut from the film or anything like that? Like, Or is
So
that
then-
everything you guys killed was on camera?
Well, so I wasn't there for the whole thing,
Okay.
number one. And because I got there 2 weeks late, so I wasn't there for the turtle anyway. And then there was the whole other part of it where Robert Kerman is leading the charge to find us, and they killed a lot of stuff, I think. But I told you the first time I saw the movie, the second time I saw the movie, so I've only seen this movie twice. One on Fast Forward, and one where they paid me to watch it and do a commentary. And but that coupled with, I didn't have my own copy of the script. I had a lead. I was the lead. I didn't have my own copy of the script because the guy who quit had the script, and there were no Xerox machines. That's what they had in those days on the Amazon River. So I actually read the script the night I got there. I made the mistake of reading it while I was eating dinner.
Oh, geez.
And yeah, that wasn't good. And then after that, all I got were like whatever I was doing that day. So I didn't really know what the totality of this movie was. So I don't know. The answer is I don't know who they killed or what else they killed that they didn't put on screen. I have a feeling that they put everything on screen. When they did the pig, when Lucas shot the pig, and I was supposed to shoot the pig and I refused to, and then I had this big monologue after he shoots the pig, and then Ruggiero says, I only have one pig. So you got to get this right the first time. And I didn't. I got it wrong. And I fucked it all up. And so and he's standing behind the camera, like shaking his fist at me. I thought that was like some kind of fake thing, like nobody shakes their fist. Italians just shake their fist.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
How old were you guys when you saw this? How old were you?
I think I was I think I was in high school or at the end of high school. So
and you heard about it from Diego?
No. I just met Diego because I'm 33, so this was close to 20 years ago when I saw it, I think. I just met Diego just like last year, I think. But
cool.
It was I'm big into just movies in general, and a lot of people talk about what's the most like brutal or grotesque movie. And when I was younger, I'm not the same way now. I despise grotesque movies now. Ask Diego. Diego's got like a playlist on Letterboxd of like all the disturbing movies. I make sure if I've seen it, I rate it like 1 star or half a star, because I can't, especially as a father now, I just can't do grotesque, brutal stuff anymore. But back then,
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Since that, I heard about that, so I was like, okay, yeah, I want to watch this. I had the curiosity. A Serbian film came out. I honestly watched that in close proximity to when I watched Cannibal Holocaust, so I was just going through like all the really bad stuff you hear about, and I was just kind of like doing a marathon through it. But that was my story with it.
And Diego, how old were you?
I was 21. I'm 23 now, but I obviously it was a film, the most controversial film of all time, and you just hear about it constantly and everything, and it got to a point where I was like, hey, I gotta check it out. I gotta see what this is all about. And when I'm watching it, as the picture goes on, more things happen. It gets intense. It gets just insane. And I was just sitting there like, oh my god, like geez, of course. But it was just such a crazy experience watching it. And I picked up the Grindhouse Blu-ray of it.
Oh yeah,
one of them, I guess, the more complete version of it. But what I really liked about that physical release of it is that it came with a whole ton of special features, interviews with you, commentaries and stuff. And I just basically just binged all of it. Your interview, your reunion with Deodato, I believe for the first time back in 2005, I think it was. Just kind of, I just wanted to learn more, like all the history behind it and everything. YouTube videos, podcasts you've done, episodes, whatever the case may be.
Seems like I've done a lot of podcasts. Is that right? Did you find a lot of them out there?
I saw one you did, I think a few years back. I don't remember what what the name of it was, but it was great just watching you on there, because I think, apart from maybe Deodato here, you had been kind of one of the more vocal, or at least ones that talked the most about this picture. And considering you were kind of like the lead, at least with the group here, the documentary group, you know, you have so many stories to bring to it. So that was kind of my story with it. And then I actually rewatched it recently, just so I can have all that messed up stuff in my head again, or when we talk to you. So.
So one of the questions was something about the end and how crazy it was when we were.
That was my next question. Yeah,
that was yours. Okay, so I want to know more about the question, because, as I described, I don't know the movie very well, right? So you say so are you talking about the period from when? Let's see, who gets captured first? I think, did Jack get captured first? The blonde guy?
I believe so. He gets hit with like a spear. And then
I shoot him.
Mm-hmm. And then Francesca goes next, and then I think.
Well, then they carry him off, right? And and he's still alive while they're cooking him, right? After they cut his balls off.
Right. yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that, and then ultimately to like where you fall down or you get killed.
So that's the section you're talking about, from the time that Jack gets captured and cooked to the time I die.
Mm-hmm. Where you're like, save the film or something, I believe you said.
Yeah, I'm sure I did. Yeah. So here's what that was like. First of all, we didn't shoot it in order. So Jack got. Hold on, let me try to put this together in my head.
No worries.
Because I wasn't there the day. So I was there the day that he got the spear, and then I shoot him so that the cannibals will go for him and we can escape. But of course, my character, his mission in life is to not escape, but to document everything. Mm-hmm. So we don't escape, right? That's sort of the acting lesson for who is this character. So, so then the day they cooked him, I wasn't there. So I didn't have to be in any of the shots holding the cameras or anything. I don't know who was. Probably Luca, because they have to justify every shot of one of us being in the shot with the camera. But I wasn't there. So the next day I was there though, and I went to look at where they cooked him. I just wanted to see what they did there, because I heard about it. And they had these bones, these like rib bones that they had wrapped with bacon. And and he was buried up to his neck so that he could be going, and then he's cooking, right? And so I went and looked. This is like we got there, 7 a.m, and those bones were covered in maggots. It was one pile of writhing maggots. It was ugly. It was awful. So then we went to work, did something. I don't know what we did that day, but I went back about 2 hours later, and all those maggots were gone. They were gone. The bones were shiny clean. And so I'm answering another question that you had there about what is it like working in the Amazon?
Yeah.
That's what it's like. You get a real appreciation for this weird world that we live in, where we have to eat. Everything eats, and some of us eat slowly, like us, compared to in the jungle, man, they eat it now. And then they go get some more to eat somewhere else. And which is why I never wanted to pull my pants down in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, Diego, if you were good there, just to piggyback off, because he referenced my question. So, Werner Herzog is a great example of filming in the Amazon. He's done a couple films there, and there's been other movies. Just like, what else do you remember? Because there's this story, I think it was Henry Ford. he, back in like 1927 or 37, he opened up like a rubber factory and he made like an Americanized town in the middle of the Amazon, and it all went to shit because he was trying to tame what cannot be tamed. They called it Fordlandia, and I love that story because what it shows. So just what are some other experiences that you came away from it with working in the Amazon and being out there?
You know, it was a lot like, so I hope you've seen the movie Casablanca, and I hope if you haven't that you do, and I hope if you do, you understand the what it was for its time. And it's a wonderful movie also, and structurally it's one of those that is almost impossible to diagram because it's got more than one theme and the themes keep rotating in a way. But here's what's happening in the town of Casablanca during World War II. There's people from everywhere. There's people from everywhere. Some of them are hiding from the law. Some of them are hiding from the war. Some of them are just plain hiding. And that's what Letitia was like. That's the little town we were in. So you know, I flew to Bogota on a Monday, and there were only 2 planes a week to Letitia. So I spent 2 nights in Bogota, and then this guy named Salvatore, and he's in the movie. He came and got me, and we got on a plane down the Amazon. So we're flying over the jungle, and I'm looking out there going, you know, we're going to land in there one way or another. And luckily we actually landed without, you know, killing us all. So we land there, and then they put me in a Volkswagen a Volkswagen van. And the air conditioning was these little fans in the window, you know, like that. And there was one road that went from the airport into Letitia. There's one paved road that went through Letitia. They took me to these bungalows where we were staying, and they took me immediately down to the river and put me in a boat. And now we're driving up the river. So I woke up that day, and, you know, quite a big city. And the next thing I know, I'm driving up the river, and there's dolphins jumping in behind us, you know, dolphins. We're 1,800 miles from the Atlantic. So I'm kind of mystified about the dolphins. And I put my hand in the water, and somebody's like, no, don't do that, because there's barracudas, there's piranha. They're like, you want to keep that hand? Keep it in the boat. So now I'm like, okay. And the river's like really wide, and it's just an entirely different world. It's an entirely different world, especially coming from New York. You know, there's a guy in the movie who plays, his name was Jorge. I forget who he played. He plays the guy who's the guide who gets his snake bit, and he cut off his leg. Yeah. You remember that part. Yeah. Diego remembers better. That's that's the shot. That's the shot they were shooting when I got there. So they drive up the thing, then we took a right turn up a tributary. We go up there for a while, and this stuff starts floating by, you know, a dead monkey floats by. I'm like, oh, and because I don't know anything yet. I don't even know the name of this movie yet. I didn't know the name when I left New York. I didn't know anything. So dead monkey floats by. Then a human leg floats by. And then I'm like, okay. So we go around this little bend, and we pull in, and there's the set. And I get off, and there's boards because it's all muddy. The shore is muddy. I don't know if there's a single rock in the whole of the Amazon basin, because I took a pole like that and I stuck it into the mud, and it just went all the way down like that. Anyway, wow. I get off, and yeah, so they put me in a shot right away. So yeah, you know, I decided to be an actor when I was 7, and I had visions of what that meant, and I had accomplished some of those already. this never was part of the vision.
Yeah.
This was not part of the vision. To be to be as far away from civilization as possible with a whole bunch of people who don't speak English, and to be responsible for, when you have, 20 or 25 Italians who I saw them around the swimming pool on Sundays in their little Speedos,
Yeah.
and they're standing around waiting for me to get this right, and they're like, that's kind of standard in the whole business. It's like, the crew is always looking at us. So the kind of pressure that I walked into heightened everything. It heightened everything so that all of it. But what was really interesting was how I never ended up taking it all that seriously. So it didn't crush me when these things happened, It just was fascinating. It was fascinating. And other people had, real moral problems. I had them too. Like when they did the monkey and they chopped the top of his head off and the guy ate his brains, and people are throwing up on the set. And people start talking about, well, we're going to go on strike. We're not going to do this. And I'm like, oh, shut up. You're not doing that. Because they're all whores. We're all whores. We're like, we get to be in this movie and they're going to do something we don't agree with that. Yeah, you got principles. You should have left them at the airport.
Yeah, very interesting. And so there's a bunch of extras and, with the tribe and everything. What was it like, and how were they throughout this whole process? Because I imagine with the extras there, especially if they don't speak English, they see like all these prosthetics or these dead animals. Like, who was there to kind of, was there a translator assuring them like, hey, it's fine, or whatever, or like, how did that whole process go?
Yeah, there was a guy. There were some people who, some local people who, kind of made it. The liaisons to them. I didn't have much. My Spanish, was not, and until I smoked a joint with some cocaine paste in it, and then all of a sudden I could speak Spanish. It was amazing. But other than I didn't do that on the set. So
yeah.
So. You probably heard this story, maybe not. I didn't have much to do with the natives, but we all ate the same thing at lunchtime. So every time we did something particularly grotesque or hard to deal with, it was lunch immediately.
Wow. So like the monkey's brain?
Yeah, monkey brains. Okay, lunch. We raped that girl lunch, and then
oh jeez.
We did that. We had the sex scene in the bungalow with me and Francesca, and we did 5 takes of that, and then it was lunch. So I go to the lunch table. We all got our little cheese sandwich or whatever. It was awful. It was like terrible lunch. And one of the locals comes up to me. He goes, "Hey, fight time. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, fight time. I'm like, I don't really understand. And he does the universal symbol for,
yeah.
Fight time with her. You do fight time? I'm like, oh, I see. That's acting. Well, but yeah, no, I did it 5 times, yeah, and I did 5 more with your mom, I didn't say that. I might have said that. Sometimes I'm a little bit out of my mind, but that was it. What that showed me was they didn't quite understand what we were doing and what it meant, and that you do it over and over again. They thought it was real, which I'm going to build my ego on that, no problem.
Right. But
generally, they live there, and that was cool. I got to watch some of them. I was a little sorry that they put them all in that hut and then set it on fire, and told them, "See how long you can stay in here before you run out." That was weird.
Yeah. Were they all okay after that?
Yeah, nobody got hurt.
Okay. I would hate to hear a story of like one of them got trapped and then the whole thing came down, but that's good that they, yeah.
Well, then if that happened, I would have gone, keep it rolling, quick, get the camera over.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Does that answer that question?
Yes,
No?
it does. Yeah. Yep.
Good.
I love it. Like I said, I love hearing those Amazon stories. I was thinking when you were talking of like, you were talking about Casablanca, sorry if I mispronounce it, and how different people from different areas come together. It reminds me of the movie Sorcerer, which was also shot in the Amazon, or in close proximity, I think. William Friedkin's movie. Similar idea in the beginning. They're all in this little village, and you got people from all sorts of areas. So very cool.
So on that note, that was what Letitia was like. It was there were all these people, except for the people who lived there. You know, there were all these sort of like this mishmash of people. There was a guy. He was there the night I read the script, and he had his nose. He didn't have a nose. His nose was flat. And he was a pilot, and he's like, and I've been in 17 plane crashes. You know, I mean, no wonder your nose is flat. I don't know how many, but that's what he was talking about. And it was really clear that a lot of people who maybe kind of ended up there, maybe, told stories that may have been enhanced. I'll put it that way, about who they were and how they got there. So twice a week, there was a plane twice a week, but twice a week. Is that right? A boat would arrive from Manaus, which is 4 hours downstream from us. And I'm wondering if Manaus was that rubber city that Henry Ford.
They called it Fordlandia. I don't know what that official name is. Actually, I could look that up while you're talking.
Yeah,
I love that.
So then people would get off of that. That was the really weird part. Further downstream from there is, I got to get this right, a couple of really brutal dictatorships.
Para Aveiro is the city is Aveiro. That's where Fordlandia is.
Okay. Yeah, that's not Manaus. I got to see Manaus, Guyana. The Guyana are those of us. There's French Guiana, and then there's Suriname now. And I think it was French Guiana that was had a particularly brutal dictator at that time. So one of the reasons Cannibal Holocaust, I think, still has legs is because it's not just a gore movie, and it actually has a real foundation that's a cultural foundation about imperialistic, adventures taking over and exploiting, people who are, and at that time, Vietnam we'd just gotten out of Vietnam, which was that story. Where we ran into Vietnam and like murdered millions of local people who were just trying to get by. So, anyway, so the boat arrives, and boy, trying to remember, this guy gets off. A couple people got off, and they had escaped from French Guiana, which meant that to get to that boat, they had to travel through, I don't know how much jungle, not sure where they were going. Their story was really, really moving. And, but they only stayed in town till the boat left, and then somebody else got off the boat, and they wanted to get to America. They wanted to get to Cleveland. I'm like, Cleveland? Why do you want to go to Cleveland? Because everybody wants to go to Miami. Everyone, that's, the only plane out of there goes to Miami. You want to go to Cleveland. And they had lived next door to somebody who had been to Cleveland or something. And they had this idea of like Cleveland is the promised land for them, and, so it was those kind of things that that were really fascinating. And then there were the local people in Letitia, and there was a Jorge took me on a tour of Letitia, this little town. So there was a little town. There's one road that went through it. And if you stayed on that road, you went to Brazil, which was about 10 minutes away, maybe 20. And we went there on Saturday nights because there were 2 discos across the street from each other in this little town in Brazil, which is not a town, but 2 discos. That's what it was, you know?
Interesting, yeah.
So Jorge takes me on a tour of, here's where this is happening, and here's the fountain, and it's in front of the 3-story hotel. Look, we have the big hotel. You know, I came from New York, you know, and he's like, and the fountain, every Saturday night at 6:00, the water starts and it changes colors, and all the families come. So I got to see that, you know, and they'd come like 5 or 6 of them on a scooter, you know, and they'd all wait till the water come, and then the colors change, and it was a big deal. And then he goes, and over there, they're gonna build a movie theater in about a year. You can get anything you want here in Letitia. That's what he said.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, you haven't been to New York. You haven't seen the rest of the stuff people want.
Yeah, there's kind of there's a purity to that, I guess, you know, like.
Absolutely. It was. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
That's great. That's
What
awesome.
else?
Yeah. Diego, what's your next question?
I'll jump in here. So my next thing is, do you still have anything from when you filmed Cannibal Holocaust, like a wardrobe,
That's
or
a
even
good
the
question.
camera, or?
Oh, I don't have any of that. No. You know, I just went through. No, none of that stuff is in here. I just went through one of my boxes, and the only thing I really have is the Letitia T-shirt. You know,
No, okay.
which I'm thinking of selling at the next horror movie convention I go to.
Hey, there's definitely a market for it. So someone's going to pay good money for that. I'm
Yeah.
sure
Oh,
of it.
here's something. Now, this I didn't get down there, but where is it? No. We had a big leak in here, and I was kicked out of my office. This is my office at home, and I was kicked out of here for about 7 months, and I just got back in. So there's stuff all over the place. I'm not sure where it is.
No
You just
worries.
look over here really quick. No. My sister saw this movie in Tokyo. She was living in Tokyo. And the 2 places where they really liked this movie were Amsterdam and Japan. Japan loves these movies. Japan loves animals getting killed. So she saw it, and she couldn't stay till the end because she didn't want to see me die. My sister, you know. But she brought me back the Japanese program from Cannibal Holocaust that I just came across the other day. Anyway, no, I don't really have anything. I don't, except my journal and my memories. I might publish the journal sometime.
Oh, I think that'd be an easy sell, man. That, you know, get it all nice and good looking, and you know there's a market for it, man. Horror community is great.
They are hungry. They love this stuff. Yeah.
I think you were just mentioning about like was a Japanese flyer or something your sister had, or you?
Yeah, the program in Japanese.
Well, I picked this up at a convention. I think this might have been for this 4K, so I guess maybe for the 4K release. But something kind of similar to that. I have this here. You can sort of see, but
it's you have to do something. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, really?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So those are out on the market?
I found this at a convention. I just saw something Cannibal Holocaust related. I was like, I'm gonna get it. But yeah, I think.
So what'd you pay for that?
This was $10 actually. For this, it's like
Yeah, that's because it doesn't have my signature.
I'll get it one day.
Really
I hope
quick.
so.
The picture that is there and it's used all the time is the girl sitting on the pole with it in her mouth.
Yeah.
Were you there when they shot that?
Oh yeah.
So it.
In fact, that's the scene that everybody kind of references. There's people who go, "Wow, you're a really good actor." It's like I used to think that, and it might have been. You might have been, but I got older, and I'm like, maybe. So in that scene, it starts with me looking at her, laughing about it, or something like that. Diego knows better, and then they go, "Hey, the camera's rolling," and then I switch and go, "Oh, this is horrible. See, that's horrible." So people have referenced that. Somebody this guy in England just told me that's the scene that made me think you're a really great actor, and I'm like, did I mention I'm the nicest guy I know, but underneath there is a real asshole? So was I there? Yes.
Was that one of the
was I
locals?
amazed? Absolutely amazed. Yes, it was amazed. She was 14, and she doesn't move a muscle. I have no idea how she did it. I don't know if I could do that. It was staggering. No, really, as an actor, that's the girl we raped.
Oh, geez.
Mm-hmm.
Pretend for the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
That's right.
Really quick, just to spin off that. Was she like already? I know Deodato said it was like a bike seat that she sat on. Was she like already there?
He's so full of shit. He's so full of shit. No, here's what happened. We got this pole and we just like rammed it right up her ass.
That's true. That's true.
No.
And then we were like, oh no, we did it the wrong way. We had to pull it out and shove it down her mouth because that was where the pointy part was. So that was real. We did that for real. No, I guess it was a bicycle seat. Yeah. And the top part was balsa wood, so it was really light.
Oh, okay.
Was she already there, like in that position when you got there, or you guys all got there? Then it's like, hey, she got in that.
That's
position.
a good question, and I don't know. I don't really remember. I don't remember.
That is something I'm curious about. Like, if you got there, like, whoa, what the heck? Like, what? Or if you got there and they're like, oh, they're setting up. She's getting in the bike seat and stuff.
I'd really like to check with the other actors to see what they remember about that scene, because because you know why? Because that day was the worst day for me. Gotcha. By the way, Diego, you don't know this because you're so young, but this is a great first date movie, by the way. First date, you bring her home.
I have the Blu-ray. I got the Blu-ray ready, so.
Yeah, cool. So this 4K that's coming out, is that Grindhouse?
Well, I know there's technically already a 4K release of it. I don't know if somewhere in the UK they released it, but I think Grindhouse is doing a 4K of it.
Yeah, I think they're doing another release. I know that.
A new version of it. I know they're gonna have a premiere of it at some theater, and thinking maybe California, but I'll definitely pick it up when it comes out.
Nice.
I'll jump into my next one here. I think you kind of answered a little bit earlier, but were there any scenes that you shot that were surprised didn't or did make the final cut of the movie?
That's what I mean. I don't know what the final cut turned into. It's one of those that I don't think I'm going to watch very carefully.
Right.
So what's weird is to go to the conventions, right, where everyone's like, wow, did you see, Human Centipede 9? It's like, no, I'm never going to see it. I'm never going to see any of those.
You don't want to be in a centipede? You don't want to be in a human centipede?
I don't want to be in one. I don't want to watch anybody be in one. And, so the whole genre is like just not my genre, which is really kind of ironic because I can't really have that dialogue with the other people. I have one thing. A lot of guys at the convention, they've done a lot of horror movies. I've done one. I get one. And
that kind of leads into my next thing about having done conventions for quite some time. Is there anything else you want to mention about doing conventions, or just a memorable fan interaction, or maybe they brought you some like foreign DVD or something that you're like, whoa, what's it? Full cover.
People bring me stuff, a lot of stuff. Little turtles. Little statues of the girl impaled on the thing. They want me to sign that. People are very creative about this movie, and so when Sage Stallone said, now we're going to take you to this convention, because they found me. I didn't know anything about any of it. I didn't know it was out in the public. and they were putting together this 25th anniversary, and they found me, did the interview. They said, now we're going to take you to these horror movie conventions. You can meet your fans. I'm like, how can I have fans? Nobody's seen this movie. Are you kidding me? It's been banned everywhere. He said, no, you have fans. So out I went, and I was really like, I'm sure I don't want to meet these fans, because how can they like this, like that. So really what happened, and I think where it actually really took hold was in Cleveland at Cinema Wasteland. Do you know that show?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been there 3 times, and the first time I went there, and everybody was just having such a great time, because by then I'd done a couple of chillers in New York, and I'd done a couple other that were like these big, commercialized things. And okay, so I go to Cinema Wasteland, and it was family. They're family, and it was really wonderful, and everybody's nice. So that's when I found out that horror movie fans are pretty much just like everybody else. They just happen to like horror movies. Yeah. So these guys, and it might even, I'm pretty sure it was at Cinema Wasteland, where this big gigantic guy, who's dressed like a biker, only with dead babies and shit on his shirt, with his big gigantic wife, who was just giggled. All she did was giggle. And they come up and he goes, wow, it's great to meet you, man. And I'm like, oh, it's real nice to meet you, Mr. Sir. Don't kill me. And so we had our little dialogue, and then he bought a DVD, and he looks at his wife and he goes, we're going to have a good time tonight. And she giggled, and I'm like, oh, I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that means. The most touching moments I've had, though, are the single moms who bring their 15-year-old boys in there, and he's standing behind her about 5 feet, and he's all shiny, and she's like, he's in the basement watching these movies, and he's watching your movie. Can you talk to him? I don't know how to talk to him. And I'm like, okay, because she's afraid that she's growing a serial killer. I've talked to more than one guy like that, and it turns out that they're just kids who are probably divorced, probably, some trauma that mom doesn't know how to deal with. Nobody knows how to deal with, but they wanted to talk to me, so I did. Those are interesting. The other weirdest thing is to see guys with, and I've got 6 pictures of 6 of them, guys with the tattoos of the chick on a stick.
No,
somewhere on them. One guy had it on the back of his neck. One guy had it right here on his forearm. I'm like, so what do you do at a job interview? Is that you just go, see, chick on a stick, now hire me?
Oh wow. I'll pass it here to Sean in a second, but hopefully you I know you got a convention coming up in New York, I believe.
Yeah.
But hopefully you make your way down to Chicago at some point. I was actually one of the people that commented.
I'll tell you what you can do. You can go to whatever local convention is and say, bring this guy in. He's never been to Chicago.
That's what I'm saying.
But if I get a hold of them, they just go, fuck you. We don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
If they hear it from you though, then
I'm the guy. I'll let them know.
Yeah, we get Flashback, and we get Days of the Dead twice a year, right? I think Days of the Dead happens twice, because there was one earlier, and we've got one coming up in a month or so. So yeah, definitely. We'll.
I got a hold of one of those. Yeah, somebody gave me somebody's name. I got a hold of them, and they just went, yeah, we were all booked for the next show, and I'm like, well, what about the show after that? And it's like, so I would love to come to Chicago.
Yeah. Because I'm we have the guy from the most controversial film of all time, and he's telling all these great stories and stuff. Like, it'd be such a great, new guest, and it'd be great. So I'm waiting one day, hopefully. But
so I'm doing the New York Tattoo and Horror Movie Convention on Friday this weekend, and then a year from now, I'm going to Germany and do a big convention. Wow. So here's what's been happening at my table. As people come up, I've evolved. So about 2 years ago, I was out in Massachusetts somewhere. It was late on Sunday, and I was tired. And this guy in a wheelchair came up, and and it was all just really weird and sad. And he had an attendant with him, and he goes, I want to buy. Okay, so he said, so can I give you I'm going to try to give you like a personal sort of little note. Is that okay with you? Yeah. What was your name, John? To John, you sick fuck, Carl Yorke. And I gave him the picture, and he read it, and he goes, oh, finally somebody who sees me, somebody who understands me. And I'm like, oh, I had no idea. So that's how I signed anymore.
That's wholesome, I think. There's something
wholesome
about
wholesome.
that. Yeah.
So I went to England in June, and I was out in the hinterland, somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, and boy, they were lined up. And so I started writing that, and that started at like 10 in the morning. By noon, people were coming up going, I'm a sick fuck. I'm a sick fuck. Can you write that for me? Yeah.
Because that was when you reunited with Francesca, right? At the
yeah, for the first time since Orlando in 2014. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we make a good pair.
Awesome. No, thank you. That was great. Yeah.
How about that? Yeah.
Yeah. Sean, I'll pass it over to you then.
Yep. So this is the way that I do these interviews. I start them and I end them the same way. So I start it with the top 5, and I like to end it with this question: whether personally or professionally, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh. Retired, because I'm not retired yet. What I would like to have done in 5 years is a novel that I'm halfway through, a book about my great-grandfather, who was a vaudeville actor. This right here is a poster from when he was in London in 1912 or 15. There's this whole bunch of vaudevillians who know. If you came along late enough, then you got into the movies and TV, and then everyone's like, oh, Milton Berle and the Marx Brothers, and they were all in vaudeville. This guy, my great-grandfather, he started too early, but his career was fascinating. And so I want to get that book done, and there's one more book I want to write about when I lived in Paris when I was a kid, and there was this mansion that the Nazis had used to train saboteurs, and we lived right next door to it. This is 1959, so it was still there. And my dad was in the military, so we got there, and they said, here's this wall, and on the other side of the wall are the woods, and the other side of the woods is the lawn, and then in the middle of the lawn is the mansion, and everything from the wall to the mansion is off limits. So we ran right over to the wall and jumped over the wall, and there were these bunkers in the woods where you go down in the bunker, and then there were tunnels that went under the lawn and up into the mansion. And my brother told me, who's 5 years older, said, I was 7, said, there's headless motorcycle Nazis driving around in there. You better be careful. And I was just young enough to go, how does that work? Headless motorcycle Nazis? Now this is, 15 years after World War II. But I've developed a story that happens in those tunnels, and with the community of kids on there, and that's what I would like to have done in the next 5 years.
Is that one? So I've got a question about both projects. First, with the tunnel one. So are you planning on making like a supernatural thing out of it? Going like Stephen King with it, or it's going to be an actual accounting of kind of what you experienced? No,
the accounting isn't all that interesting. It would have to be. So there's a structure to those stories. You have to have 3 explanations. It really happened. The character's nuts, and the supernatural, and you just keep. It's like the shell game you see in Times Square. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. So I will have supernatural elements to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And then about your great grandfather, man, I was going to ask something about it, but I totally lost it when you were talking about the second story. Anyway, what about like screenwriting? I'll just jump to a different question. Like, would you ever, because writing the novels, and you taught screenwriting, is there a chance that you would ever want to like write something and get it optioned or get it filmed?
Well, the novel would be, I've already had people test some of the early chapters, and they keep saying, this reads like a screenplay. I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah. So that's the one that would be a screenplay. I'm not a big fan of books that are turned into movies. I mean, I did that for decades, where that was my job. It's like decide. But every time I see a movie that I read the book, it's just I shouldn't have read the book, because it affects how you see the movie. Because you can't make a movie exactly the way it is in the book. You can't,
right?
And you shouldn't, because they're two different mediums that are, delivering information in different ways and different kinds of information. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So do I have time to like find out just a little about you guys? Like what are your goals and what are you doing for a living?
Yeah. I mean, if
sure.
you'd like to ask us, shoot, go ahead. Yeah.
What do you got? What are you doing?
Well,
Diego
I can start here. But I'm a very popular filmmaker. No, I'm kidding. But I like directing. That's the thing I'm kind of doing. Some indie stuff, helping out with different projects.
Okay.
And I met Sean about, I think he said it was like a year ago here at this point. But I'm doing my own horror films.
And how did you two meet on a shoot somewhere?
Yeah, I think it was on a film set. I might have been technically at a premiere of a film here, but properly kind of introduced on a film set. And I'm directing short horror films. I want to do my own feature soon. Definitely not anything as crazy as Cannibal Holocaust, but
yeah, you don't have to go that far.
A little below the line there, but that's kind of what I'm doing, and hopefully I can get that feature out and just kind of build and learn more from people I meet on set and stuff, and just kind of growing myself as a person and learning more. And I'm definitely excited to keep making stuff. And
so the dream is to be a director?
I guess a director that I can make a living out of, directing. That would be nice to do that, whether it be something small or something big, whatever the case may be. But it's just cool talking with you, because I like, films, horror films, and behind the scenes, and especially with you in this film in particular, there's just so much behind it that I like the process behind, cause there's the film itself, but I really like kind of the process behind it. The script, or how this person got cast, or even just your whole journey with it, which I find fascinating. So
yeah, you've heard the whole story because you saw the interview.
Oh yeah, I've seen it all.
Cool.
That's kind of my little bit there.
Well, good luck with that. All right,
Thank you.
Sean, you got a kid, man.
Yeah.
Make some money.
I know. So luckily, I've got a full-time day job. I'm a senior safety specialist for a chemical company. So like I'm
a senior what specialist?
Safety. So environmental health, like OSHA, EPA, that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So I do that for a chemical company, but I've always been obsessed with movies, and I write a lot. And I wrote and directed my debut short film this year, and it just went on YouTube. But it's just do you know what? I'm sure you know what a oneer is, right? Where it's the film, you film and you don't cut. It's just like a long take. So I wrote this dialogue piece about 15 pages, and I shot it as a oneer. I love oneers, so I wanted to do it. And it came on YouTube recently, just the other day. And I'm very proud of that. But so
you'll send me a link to that, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay,
It's all dialogue if you like that. Some people, they're like, these two people are just talking.
I want to see what you're doing. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But so I'm continuing to write, and my next thing I want to do is a feature. So I'm just, while I'm working my day job, raising my kid, all that fun stuff, I'm trying to build out this film resume. And I met this guy named Derek. He does a lot of indie films in the area, and that's how I met Diego. So this director guy, Derek, he meets people and he brings them onto a set to PA or AD or script supervisor, like what Diego does. And it's been a lot of fun doing that. It's all free work, but it's experience, right? So it's just it's a lot of fun. I love the process, and I have the luxury of having a full-time day job that pays good. So when I have free time, I could kind of like invest a little more into it and get out there.
Yeah.
And obviously I do this podcast. This is going to be episode 31 or 32, which I started it this year. I haven't missed a week. So every week I sent out, I do an interview, and it's been like a vast array of people. So just because I love hearing the stories.
Sure. So you must have gone to college and studied something in order to have this OSHA kind of a job. What was your focus?
So
chemistry, chemical, how to kill people with chemicals?
No, that was just a byproduct of it. But really, and I got my degree recently. So I went to community college for a semester back in like 2011, and I was just always really bad with school. Becoming a father helped me become a lot more responsible in other ways. So I went back to school maybe online like a few years ago, and I got my bachelor's in occupational health and safety. So I was able to get it directly in the field that I'm working in. And
so okay, I'll try to make this short. When I was teaching at Stanford, I was teaching at the continuing education night classes. So the students I had were people who had careers and jobs and families and stuff, and who thought they were going to be writing movies. They weren't going to be writing movies, and I knew that. And I knew that if they did write movies, nobody was going to make their movie. So that was okay. I forget what I was going to hook that into about. Oh yeah, this is what I told them. I told them, if you're a writer, you have to identify as a writer. You have to tell yourself, I'm a writer. You don't have to tell yourself, I'm an HR lady, or I'm a, so you're a writer, and the HR lady part is research. Whatever you're doing to make money is research. And that's what I'm telling you. So
I love that. That's a great way to look at it. Yeah.
That OSHA part is research. And here's a really cool thing. That's a fucking horror movie right there.
Oh, I've already started. It has to do with somebody. So there's this job called an industrial hygienist. It's somebody who they measure like the chemicals and the exposure in like a facility. So I haven't fleshed it out fully, but I want the main character in a horror movie to be an industrial hygienist. And when she's at a place to clear it out, there's shit wrong with the readings, and I want to work in the chemistry and kind of intertwine it with some supernatural elements and make something that hasn't been done before. And I'm pulling from my job right there to make that work.
That's the idea. How do you make money, Diego, or do you have to? You're rich. You have rich parents. Is that the deal?
No job right now, actually, but it is something that, well, of course, I'll have to get soon. That way I can make the stuff that I won't make, the crazy
you gotta get some money to feed your movie gathering.
Exactly. And to get more Cannibal Holocaust merch or whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
Your autograph, of course, all that fun stuff.
Well, feel free to keep in touch with me on all your projects. Let me know how it's going.
Thank you. We're friends on Facebook, so I'll make sure to, once this goes live, we'll tag you and everything. So
good. And are we friends yet, Sean?
I think so. Yeah. I sent the request, and I think you accepted it not too long ago, because I emailed you and you didn't respond for a while, right? Because it was an old email of yours, and you must have So,
and I have a pretty thick life with lots of stuff going in lots of different directions. So emails get buried, but I almost never forget them. And as soon as I can, I go find them and respond. So speaking of which, I got another one I got to go find and respond. But Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Well, this has been good, and I hope you can make sense out of it. You're going to do an edit, I know. And where do people see your podcasts?
So it goes on like it goes on like Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It goes to YouTube. It's just this site that kind of blasts it on whatever. But it'll be the audio for them.
Okay.
And yeah, just, I usually post the Spotify link and the YouTube link because I don't personally interface ever with Apple Podcasts because I don't have an iPhone. But yeah,
I see.
There's options to listen to it, I guess. Is what I'm saying.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll look into it all, and I look forward to hearing from you about opening night of the OSHA disaster.